The Giants put the power of friendship on full display last night in Thursday Night Football and stomped the Eagles for their second victory of the season. After losing to the defeated New Orleans Saints just a week ago, it was a great bounce back win for the Giants, but most importantly, sharing Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo's bromance on national television was something that it just warmed my heart. I love seeing those two together. Cam Scadaboo with just an unbelievable effort in this one, rushing for 3 touchdowns. He broke 100 total yards with his passes as well, trucking through defenders, bulldozing blockers. When he was blocking, he took one of the linebackers into the ground. He was trucking guys left and right. Cam Scadaboo is just an unbelievable player. And as well with Jackson Dart, Dart's looked solid. There was the play where they brought in Russell Wilson after Dart. It looked like he might have been injured there when he went into the medical tent for for the Giants, and Russell Wilson threw an absolute mallard into the ground. Brian Daboll and the whole Giants team went into the injury tent to go grab him back out because they needed him. Dart's been certainly a savior for this Giants franchise, and he's fun. The New York Giants are fun again, which is really what's most important for a fan base that's really struggled to have beliefs for over 10 years now, since Eli Manning was at the helm here leading the squad. But they're fun, and just put in contrast with the Philadelphia Eagles, who ran the tush-push 4 times in a row with 4 consecutive false starts to score the ball. The disparity and the fun of the NFL is serious, and you can just see it on full display. So the Giants are young. They make mistakes with turnovers, which we saw with 5 turnovers in the last game against the Saints last week. Eagles coming off a short week as well, of course. They lost a fourth quarter collapse to the Broncos and really just looked zapped from energy at the start. But the Giants are the ones that showed up. They bounced back after the loss, and right now they've got 2 wins. They're sitting there even with the Cowboys. The Cowboys will have a big one this weekend. The Giants unfortunately were given one of the hardest schedules in the entire NFL. So it's really going to be an uphill battle to fight back towards the playoffs, but the back half of their schedule is very winnable. I think they've got the Broncos next week, the Eagles again after that. It's Green Bay, Chicago, the Lions. It's just it's a tough slate before their bye, but after their bye is more divisional opponents, much more manageable, and you could probably see this team winning another five games this season if things go well. Or, it could be sloppy and they could fall apart. But it was really fun to have them on Thursday Night Football, and I think the league will take notice of putting this team back into nationally televised games, because that was just an awesome game where they just dominated the game. There were so many highlight plays. Every play where Scadaboo scored, he's dancing. Jackson Dart's high-fiving the referees, the backflip, the surfing move, butting his head against everything known to man. It's just great. And on the other side, the Eagles, Hurts looked terrible. He missed an open touchdown pass to Devontae Smith. He overthrew him by about 10 yards. It wasn't really close. They've not been able to run the ball well. Saquon had 58 yards. Boy, am I glad I stayed away from any of these receivers in fantasy. Other than Dallas Goedert, everyone else looks sloppy because Jalen Hurts was not particularly good. He missed lots of throws. He had that interception. He took 3 sacks. He's not been very good. They also had a fumble from A.J. Dillon, who's the backup. The Eagles have got some things to figure out. It's 2 back-to-back losses. This is not the first team that we've seen start out undefeated and take back-to-back losses. So maybe it was good for certain teams like the Lions to lose early, to really get exposed, to have to then really settle up and figure out some of their team woes here. But the Eagles looked rough. They have a lot to improve upon, and I didn't think they were going to come out this flat. I had them still ranked very high in my rankings, which, of course, NFL rankings are just shot. It changes week to week, so I guess that's just how it goes. But, yeah, Let's move on to some college football previews. We've got an awesome slate of games tomorrow. I'm just going to call a few of them. We'll look down here at the lines, the different games. The first one tonight is South Florida, North Texas. This could potentially be the Group of 5 playoff team that it appears. South Florida, of course, has the big win over Florida. They lost to Miami, destroyed Boise State. They've been a little up and down, but this is a huge one against undefeated North Texas tonight on Friday. North Texas is favored since it is in Texas. This would be a huge one for South Florida. I think it kicks off at 7:30 p.m., and North Texas is favored by 1.5. I think South Florida is going to win. I really like their coach. I like their defensive identity. They held Boise State under 2 touchdowns. Really strong. Of course, they just kept Florida's offense in check. They were able to move the ball, throughout that. They looked rough against Miami, but Miami's been one of the most complete teams to start the season. And I like South Florida winning and covering this one. Ohio State at Illinois. This is the big noon game. I don't have any doubts. I think Ohio State rolls here. It's 14.5. That's a big line, but I think that's plenty. I think Ohio State will cover that. They beat Washington, who I think is better than Illinois. Although Illinois has a good defense, I think Washington is more dynamic offensively. And if Washington struggled to score virtually any points on them, Ohio State shut them down 4 times in the red zone. I don't have any more faith in Altmaier and Altmaier and Illinois, who couldn't move the ball against Texas Tech. So Ohio State I've got there. This noon slate on Saturday might be the best noon slate of games we've had this season, because next up is Alabama at Missouri. This one is Alabama minus 2.5 on the road. So if you account for that, they're saying that Alabama on a neutral field is favored close to a touchdown here. So there's a lot of faith in Alabama. To me, this is one through the rest of the schedule. Alabama's got some home games. They've got LSU, Oklahoma, Tennessee at home is the next week. LSU after that, Oklahoma at South Carolina. They're going to have Auburn at the end of the year at home. It's a rough schedule, but this game I think is the worst matchup out of the teams they've got to face the rest of the way. The run defense we saw against Georgia allowed about 200 yards. Missouri has a better running game, a better offensive line, and a much better running back. I think they're dangerous, and I think their defense is solid. Maybe not as good as Georgia, but I think their offense is better. They've got a better running game, and I would be worried if you're an Alabama fan about this one. DeBoer has looked shaky on the road at times. My question is, can Alabama get a lead early? If they go down 2 touchdowns, just like if they had against Vanderbilt, if they had not gotten that fumble recovery by Justin Jefferson against Vanderbilt, that game could have swung way differently. If Alabama gets a lead early, I've got faith in them to win this game. If they're trailing, it's all bets are off, and Missouri is going to win. So this is a game. DeBoer's he's been shaky on the road in conference play. It's going to be a supercharged noon environment. If it was a night environment, I might pick Missouri. Early in the day, I've got Alabama still winning this one, and I'll take the points as well. I'll take Alabama minus 2.5 to win by a field goal. All right, moving on here. It's Indiana at Oregon. This one, I think, was the game day game of the weekend. Indiana is 7th right now. They've been power rated actually really high as well. This Indiana team feels a little different than last year, but also they haven't played really much competition at all. So Oregon's going to be a huge step up in terms of defensive ability. Offense, Dante Moore has been fantastic running the show. Oregon also has just been great at home. That environment is fantastic. The last time they had game day, of course, we know what happened against Ohio State, and it's going to be fun. I think this one's going to be a really, really fun game. I have Oregon winning. I need to see more out of Indiana. They could very well win. They could look really strong, but I just need to see more out of Indiana. But I will take Indiana to cover. I think 7.5 over a touchdown is a lot. This game could go anywhere. I'll take Indiana to cover the points and Oregon to squeak out a win. I think it's going to be closer than people think. All right. NC State at Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame wins there. Looking down here at some of the other ones, we've got LSU and South Carolina. That one is going to be, or it's South Carolina at LSU. I think LSU is going to get right back on the right track. You would expect LSU to be favored more in the night game. That was thing that surprised me about this one. They're only favored by 9 points. That's not a lot. So they're expecting South Carolina and Lenore Sellers to really give this Tigers team a run for their money. Is it a scare spot? Maybe. But I've got confidence in the Tigers winning. I do have South Carolina covering, though. A lot of times the odds makers know more than we do. Okay, one more here. I'm looking down. I forgot this one. It's the Red River Showdown. It's Oklahoma at Texas in Dallas. This one, everyone, after Texas's epic collapse last week, everyone would expect Oklahoma to be favored big time, even if Mateer was not going to play or very questionable, which it seems like he is questionable. It seems like he's going to play. What's his percent going to be? We don't know. That is the thing. We don't know if he's going to be 30% out there. We don't know if he's going to be 80%. He's going to play, and he's still probably going to be effective. But my question is, what's the flow of this game going to be? Oklahoma's been okay running the football. Texas has been okay. Is this going to be a defensive slugfest? Is this going to be, if Mateer's not playing, Oklahoma needs to hold Texas under 28 to win. I don't see them getting much more than 3 touchdowns without Mateer playing, or if he gets banged up, if he's struggling to move the ball. So I think Oklahoma needs a big defensive effort, which we've seen teams be able to get after Texas. Manning was sacked 6 times last week. Oklahoma, of course, had 10 sacks against Auburn, the program record this year. They're a better pass rush than Florida. And so that's what concerns me for Texas. The odds makers have Texas winning. It's a desperation mode for Texas. Arch has been criticized. Can he get back up? Can he bounce back? This might be a big opportunity for Sark and this Texas team. They're in a rough situation there with Arch, especially seeing how good the backup played when he actually came in against Florida, threw an absolute laser beam in the final drive. I don't have faith in Texas, and I know this is a back against the wall season, kind of on the line game. You can still win this one and potentially still have a shot at the playoff, get things back on track. There's too many problems here for me for Texas. And even though it's going to be more home crowd, even though it's a rivalry game, even though they've won this game in the past when they've been when they've been underdogs, and even though there's injuries, all these questions, I just gave you a bunch of reasons to pick Texas, to agree with the odds makers. I'm taking Oklahoma outright. And if I was going to bet, I would shift up the spread for Oklahoma to win. So if you want to cover, that's fine. I've got Oklahoma winning this game outright. And I think they'll stick undefeated. This is their biggest test as well. I think Michigan was a solid team, but nowhere near I think the defense for Texas is significantly better, especially in the secondary. So we'll see how Oklahoma looks. They can be shaky, but it's a big moment for them this season. In other news, Sister Jean passed away, the Loyola Chicago nun who was there for those March Madness runs. Rest in peace to a true legend and one of the greatest Cinderella runs in history, Sister Jean. And I'll see you back tomorrow for some more. We'll probably preview some of the NFL games and talk about the North Texas game against South Florida, and just keep talking sports. We'll see you then tomorrow.